Hello, it's time for another one of these. As the title suggests, this is probably going to be my last channel summary since I don't think it's worth keeping up every year. Not like it matters much with how many of you that even watches these videos. This one is going to be a bit different than last year's, considering this year I didn't make as much videos. I would be talking a lot more about my personal life and experience during the making of the videos rather than the videos themselves. Since what did you expect from a concept like a channel summary? I also have something to say at the end that might make it worth your time. If you want to skip the whole summary just to get to that part, that's fine by me. If you skip that part entirely, that'd be quite rude if I'm being honest. Anyway, let's not waste any more time. Time to get on with it. So to start things off, we have the last channel summary. Yeah, unfortunately, due to time constraints, I couldn't actually get it out by the 31st of December last year. I don't have much to say though, aside from the fact that I started this whole summary thing because I wanted to have a video out by the end of the year. We'll get to stuff regarding making videos later. Next, of course, is Monster Update. Quite the funny video if I do say so myself. Sometimes our content, the depravity, gets the best of us and we believe in everything that's convincing enough. Even threw that Discord screenshot in there for good measure, even though it wasn't even related to, well, you know. But yeah, for the second entry of, I guess I'll call it totally real fan game leaks, I think I did a fine job. Alright, that was a quick one, but not surprising considering I wanted to take a break at the time. Let's move on to February. Wait, hold on. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh yeah, let's talk about that, shall we? To not go into super personal details, 2021 did not end well for me. I came out of there really exhausted, mentally and sometimes physically. One of the things that caused this was the constant feeling of needing to make a new video as soon as possible. I wasn't even fueled by the algorithm or anything, it was just a nagging voice in my head, and this feeling took a while to go away, but it unfortunately stayed at the time. Because of this feeling, I had a couple of ideas that I wanted to show off, but I felt as though they were too short or too low effort, and it's not part of the series like the character verb stuff. And so I decided to make a separate channel just for these types of videos. How are the results? Let's find out. First off, we got Benny What Happened. I honestly don't have much to say, this was just the Squid Games meme but turned into Lisa. It's short, it gets straight to the point, it may have given you a chuckle, let's move on. Next we got Bellboy Faces a Shadow, which was made entirely because of one comment that mentions how Lud Blaster and his gang kind of mirrors Bellboy and his friends. And me, being the Persona fan that I am, decided to use the concept of shadows and mixed it with the previous idea. And so this video was born. It was going to just be a one-time thing, but as the content depravity worsens, people wanted this to be a mod. And I did just that, even updated it a little. So I suppose I did end up making a mod about Blood Blaster of all things, only to not do anything else for the rest of the year. Finally, we have our last video. BGN5 orders English breakfast at Wally Burger. To no one's surprise, I had just finished Pyrocynical's video on Utopia before I made this. I figured I wanted to show the world that I know of Utopia, and I also wanted to do a little sprite editing by making a Wally uniform Bellboy. I initially wanted to spend even more time editing the sprites by animating Cyclops mopping the floor and Lance flipping a burger, but I decided against that once I realized just how long it took to make Bellboy's sprites. And that's about it. For what ended up being my last video on the channel, I think the effort was worth it. Huh, effort. That's a funny word. Let's talk about that. So, again, to nobody's surprise, this so-called low-effort channel ended up getting a bit of effort into it. Why was that? I don't know. Maybe it's my perfectionism preventing me from making a silly, goofy haha one-off video without actually making it worth my time, despite the fact that I'm pumping out so many ideas all at once. A bit after the last video was released, I had a talk with AAA, and he made me realize how stupid this whole channel was. Deep down I already noticed was some kind of mistake, but talking to him kinda nailed down that fact, and so I ended up abandoning it completely. It's still up and running, the videos are intact, but there won't be any more coming from it. And so the tale of Spammer Reaper comes to an end. Let's return to the main channel, shall we? needs no introduction, only more information. Once I listened to the Ultra Instinct theme, I realized how similar the tempo was to a Broken Tooth March, and so I got to work. Once I spent what I think was around an hour or two mashing these two songs together, I realized hell upon earth. The reactions were mixed, but I got a comment from my own brother calling it banging, so I'd say that's a win. Of course, as you may now know, Lisa the Dripful ended up becoming a real thing courtesy of Puppet Raid. It's kind of a mixed bag in my opinion, but I personally liked it since I'm quite biased for things being created because of me. We'll get into that later. But yeah, a mashup coming from me, I'm quite the jack of all trades, huh? Although that would mean I'm a master of none. Well, I'll take what I can get. Next we got the Kegger Crew secret location. Nah, what a different era that was. Gentry King had only started out making mods and I became an honorary second developer due to me sending out files to him. As I explained in the video, I was trying to cheat my way through Joyful and Hopeful and accidentally stumbled upon this area, which I had never seen in any of my playthroughs before. After spending quite a while trying to find it, I decided to make a video on it for everyone else to see. Not much else to say, except the fact that we do learn something new every day, even in this several years old game. Then we have an actual video of Joyful and Hopeful. I decided to do a little marketing tactic by doing a Joy run, therefore I would entice you to actually play the game in order to see the joyless ending. I don't know how effective that ended up being, but hey, it happened. Next we have the super bosses of Pointless and Bashful, which dear god was it annoying to render and export this shit. Every single time I made it 60 FPS, the audio is off sync and I couldn't for the life of me figure out the reason why. My editing program just sucks. I did end up figuring out how to fix it, but my god did I have to learn it the hard way. Anyway, the actual video itself. I honestly don't know what to say. I guess I showed everyone that there was another Gentry King mod. Yeah, I really have nothing except for the rant. Let's move on. Now we have this. Disordered Punk. A similar story to Broken Drip March, except I didn't make a good song out of it. It was awkward, janky, and not very pleasant to listen to. I mean, for God's sake, I had to change the pitch on Punktown multiple times just so it at least feels like they fit together. But yeah, this was just an attempt to replicate the success of Broken Drip March, which failed miserably. And that wraps up February. I'd say this was when the year truly started, since I still felt like I had just come out from 2021 during the entirety of January, so I was still pretty exhausted. February felt a lot more comfortable though. I just wish I had realized it at the time before I lost that feeling of comfort later down the line. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, it's time for March, what was probably the month that felt the longest for me. Before I even get to the videos, allow me to talk about just how wild this month was. I mean, there was my birthday, I got COVID around this time, I was obsessing over Legends Arceus and Touhou parodies, and that's not the last time you'll hear of Touhou parodies. Remember what I said about comfort in February? That applies here too. But yeah, this month felt really slow, both in a good way and a bad way. Anyway, let's get on with it. First off, we have Warlord's Temper. This was the most unexpected thing to come out of the community, if I'm being honest. Despite all the flack that I and some of you gave XDXCKN, he kept his chin up and took the criticisms head on, even when they weren't even criticisms and were just pure hatred towards him. And despite all of that, he still trusted me to have his last, albeit unfinished, mod. It could also be because of the fact that it's based on Sinigallo's Overhaul and I made that, but let's be emotional here. Anyway, let's talk about it. I initially wanted to show off just the pure thing that he gave me, that being the archer fight, but your party consists of Cindy's archers. How does that make sense? No clue. So I dug around the project a bit more and found out that Cindy has a whole new moveset. It'd be a shame for all of that to go to waste, so I just tried to replicate what I thought he envisioned the mod to look like. I didn't do my best job at it, despite my perfectionism, but that doesn't really matter, considering this video is more or less a farewell to XDX. I think I did a good job on that matter though. But yeah, this month started off really strong, with one of the most well-known members of the community of last year leaving completely. Next up, I channeled my inner past self by making videos on the same game multiple times, with that game being Faithful and Hopeful. Before I talk about the videos themselves, I would like to express my appreciation to Jack Allen99 for making this mod. If you recall, I had made Vega Hopes back in 2021, and I told everyone that I'd be giving a download link once a certain like goal has been reached. Well, that goal was reached a long time ago, and this person decided to make a full-fledged mod out of it, something that I've been thinking about for quite a long while now. For what I assume is his first mod ever, he did a real fine job with it. I've heard some people even calling it their favorite X and Y mod, or at least second place right behind Hopeful and Joyful. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Let's move on. The first video of it is simply showing off the heart battle, because of course I do, that's how I started this channel in the first place. Fun fact about this video though, I drew this thumbnail before actually reaching the final battle, so I have Gary and Johnny in the drawing despite the fact that they're absent in the actual battle. Oh, and also I traced one of the animation sprites for Heart's hands, because I didn't want to spend too much time drawing hands. It was going to be obscured by the darkness anyway. And that's about it. It's the heart battle but with Jerry and Paul. What more could you ask for? Then we have the video on the party member guide. Again, straight to the point and similar to my Scholar of the Wilburson videos. And just like that video, this honestly didn't matter much, considering everyone who's playing the game will know about it anyway. Although I did help people find salt crab, so who knows, maybe I help people find yogurt or something. Now let me see if I have something to say other than next up, and then we have... No, not really. Next up is the special skills guide, which I vividly remember recording the footage for during the time I got hit with COVID. It was a very tiring day full of headaches and flu, but I didn't make a big deal out of it and just turned on the game in OBS anyway. And that's it for March. Despite there not being many videos, a lot of things happened in my life during this time, as I mentioned earlier. I don't think I need to repeat myself, so let's move on to April. April was a mixed bag, but I'd say it was mostly positive. There's one thing I want to talk about though, but we'll get into that later. So let's start off with random collection. Everybody's first experience of Heart's Quest for Chicken McNuggets, and one of few videos where I just prayed that Clint Moss doesn't do it before me. I'd say this was a pretty good video. I had fun making it since I've always wanted to play Heart's Quest, and this is a good way to show off a bit of it, although the background for Raymond's second fight is still in my mind to this day. It's a good thing Nero updated it for people who have yet to see it, but yeah, that's about it. Next, not even 24 hours after the last video, is the fast food fight section of Random Collection, where we finally get to play as Heart himself, even though I already made a playable Heart of my own. I'd say this was also pretty fun, although the slowness of Heart's combo dial animations really adds up. This was also the first video where I did a battle with no items. More on that later. Next up we have D1, the only, Lisa the Revengeful. Remember the thing I wanted to talk about? This is it. As you may recall, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance had resurfaced this year and sent the internet into chaos. Me, being a cog in a machinery that is called the current trend, decided to contribute to this by making a Lisa version of it. Am I proud of this? Yeah. I edited the sprite for Yoltai that looked decent enough to be believable as a real playable character. I figured out a way to repeat Arnold's punching animation. I made the credits sync up to the music, which is not the last time you'll see that. It was overall a fun project to create, even if the trend died out quickly. It did die out, right?
Isn't this what you wanted? Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is back, baby. It's so funny. It's a funny meme. It's a funny bald guy. Revengeance status. It's like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance and shitpost status.
Oh my god, get me out of here!
Don't you get it?
You know, to this day, I still want to play Metal Gear Rising, but I don't have any consoles to play it on, and Steam is being stupid by region locking it. I could pirate it, but what about my achievement or trophies? I wanna be a completionist. Despite my wanting to play it though, I utterly despise the meme side of things. They just can't move on, can they? That was a long one. Let's move on to campfire scenes, a video that was really only made to tell everyone I had reached 1000 subscribers, which I feel like I've been taking for granted. I mean, imagine all of us in the same room. That would be a lot of you. So believe me when I say that I am grateful that you all decided to click on that little button. Appreciate it. Anyway, let's talk about the video itself. I'll let you in on a little secret. I didn't play through everything legitimately, with the exception of Faithful and Hopeful, since I recorded those footage back in March. I modified my save file to boost everyone's offenses so I can just one-shot everything and get to my designated campfire so I can record my footage. Quite diabolical of me, I know. And that's it for April. Quite the exhausting month despite the minimal amount of videos, but I'd still say it's a good one overall. Time for May. This month starts off strong with our first entry of the character verb series of the year, Reginald Leeds. This was pretty fun to make, although just like Pointless and Bashful Super Bosses, a lot of the technical stuff got in the way that made me a bit mad, despite the fun. I don't quite remember where this stemmed from. I think a hypothetical Reginald route was mentioned in the Hopeful Discord server, and I also recall Taco Salad's joke about how the soft-locking tile has a secret behind it, so I decided to make this real by doing this. That's about it, so let's move on. Next we have the identity of childhood friend's father, which was a dumb little joke due to me binge watching Breaking Bad at the time. I honestly don't have much to say, except for the fact that this won't be the last Breaking Bad joke. And the fact that this won't be the last time I'll say this won't be the last time. Did that make sense? Good. Next we have yet another streak of games, but this time it's not even Lisa. Say hello to Play Rough RPG, a game that I did quite enjoy, although it has quite a bit of a difficulty problem since some fights took quite a few attempts. Anyway, let's talk about the videos. First off, we have the Super Boss and the keys to get to them. Simple as that, yet another Super Boss showcase video. But this time, it's a new game. Not much else to say, let's move on. Then we have the kindness choices and the final boss. Boy oh boy do I love variables. I decided to also show off the final boss since it would be a pretty lame video without it. You know what's not lame though? Not this. This is lame, I have nothing else to say. Finally, our last Play Rough video isn't even Play Rough itself. Gentry King has done it again by making the Hint Lord plays rough. I kinda wish I had delayed this video so I could have shown off my sprite edits of the fight, since the art style clash of Lisa and Play Rough is really annoying to me. Then, the last video of the month is, surprise, another Super Boss video of another Gentry King mod. This time it's Wishless and Timeless. I have absolutely nothing to say. This is just a showcase video. This is the type of video that I wanted to avoid because I considered it low effort. Too late for that, I suppose. And that wraps up May. Not a very good month video wise, but a pretty decent one in real life. Let's get on with June. Remember what I said about Breaking Bad jokes? Well, we start off with one with the identity of Nero Steinberg, based entirely on Nero's video on the silly little misspelling. I realized that the whole Say My Name scene has Declan say Heisenberg, so I concluded that I could edit it to be Nero Steinberg. And so here we are, with a stupid joke that took way too long to edit than it should have. I'd say it was worth it though. Then I uploaded the entirety of Play Rough's soundtrack. I'm not gonna cover them all individually, obviously. This was something I did because, I don't know, I guess the content of the preview got to me, so I wanted to show off more of Play Rough stuff, and what better way to do that than the soundtrack. But yeah, not much else to say, let's move on. Finally, we end off this month, yes, it's already ending, with yet another entry to the character verb series in the form of Langs Combines. This was made entirely because of a discussion in the Hopeful server about how badass bands should give Langs a combo dial, which I made real in this video. It was pretty fun making this, but I guess it's because all the ideas have been thought of by other people, so it was easier to make in the long run. What's that? We have another video before the month actually ends? Well, I don't see any. I guess it doesn't count then. Let's move on to July. July was an okay month for videos, but a horrible one for real life. Remember what I said about being comfortable in February and March? I only realized it now, and I kept thinking about how I wish I had appreciated the past more. These thoughts haunted me for months. I was constantly down in the dumps, always thinking of what could have been rather than being in the moment. But let's not turn this into a venting video. Let's move on with the summary. First up, we have the Cave Roadblock video, which I really only did because Chirag requested me to show off the Friends fight. Plus, I also wanted to show off the secret moves, so I decided to bunch them up together. I think this was a pretty good video overall. I created a rave DJ mix of going back to Kansas and Megalovania, and people seem to enjoy it. That's about it though, but don't let my words downplay this mod. This is still an excellent mod, and it's probably one of the best things to come out of this community this year. Huge Granola Bar did an amazing job with this, and I look forward to any future projects. Remember when I did the fast food fight with no items? Well, I had done the entirety of the Rodriguez route without using items off camera. That is, no items in battle. I don't think it's possible to do it without using one in the overworld. If you want to prove me wrong, be my guest. Anyway, as I was saying, someone didn't believe I had done that, so they wanted proof that I did the hardest Strider fight itemless, which I did. And let me tell you something, This playthrough absolutely ruined Lisa for me. I cannot play a single game using items in battle anymore. It's not even for a challenge, I just feel like I'd be doing something wrong if I were to use items. Remember this if I ever critique your game. If it's too hard, I'm just being stupid by not using a mechanic. If it's too easy, then yeah, it's too easy. I can beat it with no items. That's all I've got to say though, so let's move on. Next up, we have Phone Crew Showdown's Imp Fight with no damage. This is my first and only video to have a copyright claim on it because of the thing at the end. I really only wanted to make this video to make a Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story reference with the thumbnail. Plus showing off my automated dodging in the game is also fun, I suppose. But yeah, that's about it. Finally, to end off this month, we have a filler video. Silencing Heart, a reverse version of Big Lincoln Sends You to Hyrule. This edit was made a year ago, but I never got around to making a video on it, since I initially wanted to have visualizers and stuff. Once I realized that will never happen and the fact that I haven't uploaded in a while, I decided to upload it as is, though with the extra comedy of using AI generated images of the hopeful gang versus Heart. Speaking of which, my opinions on AI art, fucking hate it. It's fun to see how a computer generates an image of a security camera footage of SpongeBob. But once you steal from other people's skills that they've honed for years, that's when you stop. It's soulless, it's passionless, it's even a money-making machine for some people. Just wanna throw that out there. And that's July. The month didn't feel like it ended for me because I still wished I could go back in time and appreciate it when times were better. But alas, time goes on as we move on to August. Remember what I said about praying that Clint Moss doesn't do it faster than me? Well, this month started off strong with that because I did the entirety of Burnt Dirt Expanse. And boy am I glad I was faster because look at those views. This is one of my most popular videos ever. Now I honestly have my fair share of critiques towards the game, especially when the description says that I have to strategize, but I still kept using Baltboy's magnum opus throughout the game. Probably the best thing to come out of this is the music used against Heart, not being heart to heart. I don't actually care much for Ribcage, but maybe that's because I have my own lovely characters. Anyway, I'd say this was a really good video, seems like this month is shaping up to be decent. Next up we have the Hot Garbage Gang rematch in Lisa the Wise, which I really only did to show off that it is possible to beat these enemies that have ridiculous amounts of HP with the power of damage over time. I have nothing else to say though, except for the fact that this is the first of my streak of Wise videos. And as I was saying, we have the next entry in the Character Verb series in the form of Mike Dice. And again, another Breaking Bad joke, although this one leans more towards Better Call Saul, since when Anthony was revealed, my mind immediately went to Lalo Salamanca. After making this dumb joke, I had posted it to the Hopeful server first to get Callan's attention since I'm using Hopeless' soundtrack in this video, which he actually liked as the description suggests. And that's it for August. I was still pretty down most of the time, but by the end of it I had regained my interest in Stardew Valley, which was really good since I now have something to keep myself occupied on a daily basis. Overall, an okay month, still not good though. Let's move on to September. I showed off the old version of The Wise and the Drunk where I did it with no items, but there's actually a reason for it this time because I get to be complimented at the credits. The game was pretty fun and challenging, making the victory even more rewarding. That's it for September. Yeah, no kidding. After this, I pretty much kept playing Stardew Valley on my own time and not worry about making videos, which was actually pretty good for me. But I've yet to know just how good things were going to be. Let's move on. Absolutely nothing. Yeah. Despite that, however, this was far and away the best month of this year. I started off by spending time with my family, then eventually Yoshi the Pyrosaur would host the Revamp Fight contest, which means I always have something to occupy myself. And everything just started to fall into place. I went outside more often, I learned how to sprite, and as the music suggested, binge watched the hell out of Friends. Overall, an amazing month even without a single video. Still nothing. But the deadline for the revamp fight contest approaches close, so I work on it as fast as I can, to which Yoshi would end up extending the deadline multiple times. Now, well, at least I actually finished my entry. And also, the new generation of Pokemon games were released, and I could not care less about the graphic or performance issues because I can relive my obsession with Legends Arceus. And well, you know it, as the music suggested, I binge watched How I Met Your Mother, which is by far my favorite sitcom. So yeah, even still without a single video, this month was legend. What? You wanted to hear the rest of the song? Then why don't you go to the description and support my brother's music? Remember, you're still not allowed to upload it to YouTube until he does. Or, she does? I mean, I've lived with this guy my whole life. I think I would figure out something like that. Anyway, finally, after 2 months of zero uploads, the revamp fight contest comes to an end, and I can publish my entry. That being Heart Squad Revamp. Not enough words can describe how glad I am that I ended up making this. I got to work with other people, have my own brother make music for me, winning my first ever contest. All of this was nothing but positive and made the end of this year end on a good note, a stark contrast to last year. Remember the awkward silence after Bellboy faces a shadow? Yeah, that was foreshadowing. Vlad in this game makes yet another appearance, and I made another credits that syncs to the music. Sometimes. I'm really proud with how this came out. I tried my hand in a lot of new stuff when it comes to RPG Maker, and most of it wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for my teammate Deez and the various people who gave us ideas. This was, at the very core of it, a team effort, and I think it's my best work yet because of that. Working with other people meant I wouldn't be exhausted at making every aspect of the game, with Deez masterfully creating his animations at a surprisingly fast rate, and my friend Vulture Salesman was more than willing to help out with the sprites considering I had just started out. And of course, Yoshi hosting the contest in the first place, making it all possible. Despite that, YouTube hated the fact that I haven't uploaded for 2 months, and so this didn't blow up as I expected. It doesn't matter to me though, because I've said what I've said. But we're not done yet, so let's move on, shall we? Next up, we have a little update video. What the hell am I supposed to say to this? It's an update video telling you the type of videos I'll make before the end of the year. Like this one. That's it, move on. Finally, the last video of this year, at least before this channel summary, the Flowering Night. How did this happen? Well, remember how I was obsessed with Touhou parodies? That never ended. That kept going, and one day, I stumbled upon a mashup of Night of Nights and Space Jam. This made me realize the possibility of a Night of Nights mashup, but with what? As you might guess, Biggie Cummings holds a knife, so I put 2 and 2 together and created this. Is it on par with Broken Drip March? Is it better? Is it worse? That doesn't matter, because I ended this year with something I obsessed over in the beginning of this year. Now isn't that poetic? And of course, this very video, which I swear to God, I did not intend to be as long as it is. By the time I'm writing this script, I actually don't remember what exactly I wanted to say at the end. I suppose I wanted to talk about how I changed a lot as a person this year, how I changed my views on making videos, among other things, and how, despite the rough patch I experienced, I was able to get out of there and become content with myself. No more looking back to the past wishing I can go back there, because the only way is forward, to the future. And it never looked brighter. The only thing I'd do if I could go back in time is not to tell my past self to cherish and appreciate the moment, but to tell him to keep his chin up, because while times were better, it could also become better. I used to think that what I'm doing is ultimately pointless. All the one-off videos is seen by people for a couple of days before being forgotten. But then I look at Figureful and Hopeful. Robin confronts himself, and Lisa the Dripful, which I'm sure took out all the seriousness I had with his speech. And what I see is that I'm a part of a community. A community full of people that acknowledge what I do. And I should focus on that community rather than trying to appeal to the masses. Because at the end of the day, I'm an individual. A small man, part of a big population. And so is everyone. I'm sorry for the underwhelming videos that this year had compared to last year, but I think what matters is that I'm actually having fun again. So while it's likely that next year also won't have as many videos, you can think about the person behind them. smiling, as he does what he enjoys. Thank you for watching, the few of you that actually care. I'll see you next year. Legendary.